So we have a couple of questions to ask. So I just skipped one of the questions in the previous sessions. If I may go back to question 46. Question 46. So the announcement of user fee rule, how soon can we expect that announcement? And the FDA application, in order to become a certified body, the application is going to start by the end of 2016?
In terms of the timeline for the Third Party Accreditation Program to come online, as I mentioned, it is dependent on the finalization of the user fee rule. FDA proposed the user fee rule in July of 2015. As we were required to do, we took public comments on the rule. Those public comment period closed in early October of 2015, and FDA is currently considering comments that were received from the public on the user fee rule. So because of the rulemaking process, I cannot give a definite timeline when the user fee rule will be finalized. We know that there's great interest in programs such as the Voluntary Qualified Importer Program, so we are working to analyze those comments and finalize the rule as quickly as we can, but I cannot give a specific time frame at this point.
はい、ありがとうございます。では、
So going back, question number 69. To what extent should the GFSI certification program be considered?
So in terms of particular schemes or particular standards that certification bodies will use to provide certifications, this will depend on the purpose of the certification. So I think it's important to note, and my colleagues have referenced it earlier today, really the purpose of the audit is key. And this rule is set up such that the eligible entity that needs to be audited must request the audit from their certification body. So in that request, they must specify the scope of the audit and the purpose of the audit. So if the purpose of the audit is for purposes of VQIP or for purposes of 801Q import certification, then this rule will apply. Otherwise, if it's for purposes of FSVP, for example, or the supply chain of the PCFH rule, then the provisions of the third-party certification rule will not apply. Just to clarify that it's possible to use accredited third-party certification bodies for various purposes under FSVP and PCHF, but the third-party rule would not apply. Instead, the requirements of those specific rules would apply. So in terms of the actual standards, such as ISO 22000, that would go back to the earlier responses that my colleagues gave on those standards and their applicability to the underlying rules.
Thank you. Next question, question 71. I'd like to hear your view about the designated certification bodies in Japan. And in relation to that, 72, we understand in the future, the third party is going to conduct an audit on the exporting organization to the U.S. on behalf of FDA inspection. So I would like to know about the requirement or the eligibility to be accepted as a third party auditor or inspector. Excuse me. I'll drag it back. So just 71 only. So repeat the question, 71. So what is your view about the possible designation of the certification bodies in third-party certification bodies in Japan?
In terms of specific accreditation bodies or certification bodies, I'm not able at this point to, until the program is up and running and FDA is able to accept applications and accreditation bodies are able to make their accreditations to give feedback on any specific entities. I would just note that it's important to review the requirements of the third-party certification rule in terms of capacity, competency, the conflict of interest, a record-keeping program, those sorts of requirements that are listed in the third-party certification rule. It will be important for certification bodies to demonstrate that they meet those requirements to their accreditation bodies.
Okay, thank you. Number 73, this third-party auditing program, Section 307. So this third-party audit, is this carried out as government work or is it carried out as work by a private company?
So the rule specifically allows certification bodies, different types of entities to be eligible to be a certification body. So the rule allows foreign governments, agents of foreign governments, as well as private entities to all apply for accreditation as third-party certification bodies. So I hope that answers the question.
はい、ありがとうございます。
Now, we'd like to take questions from the audience. So, any questions from the floor? Yes, please. Well, so the third-party certification program, and there was another session on FSBP. I'd like to know the relations between these two. So you talked about the third-party accreditation and going through the accreditation. Is it possible, for example, to simplify the procedure under FSBP? So specifically, so I'm just wondering, I'd like to know the advantage of this third-party certification program in relation to FSBP.
So the advantages of the third-party certification program go back to the purposes for which it was established. So in order to participate in the voluntary qualified importer program, certification under the third-party certification rule is required. And also, if FDA would happen to make a determination that import certification for a certain imported food is required, then in order for that food to enter the United States, then that food must have a certification from an accredited third-party certification body. So in terms of its relationship to FSVP, it goes back to the comment that I made about the purpose of the audit. So if a facility comes in and says that they want a certification body to provide services for FSVP in terms of auditing those certain services, that's permissible. And they can even use accredited third-party certifications bodies that are participating in the program to provide those audits. However, those audits would need to meet the requirements of the FSVP program and not the third-party certification program. It's two separate rules. So the scope of the third-party certification rule is limited to VQIP and to the import certification program. I don't know if Brian wants to add or.
Yes, and just to add that we at FDA, I think we strongly believe in the effectiveness and robustness of on-site audits, and we think that when we have a system in place for the accreditation of auditors, that use of such auditors would be attractive to importers and to suppliers alike. We don't want a situation where we want to try to minimize a situation where there would be multiple audits of a single supplier, but rather, and we think that if you're going to use an FDA accredited auditor, that there would be widespread acceptance of the validity of this audit, and there would be so that there would be demand to use such an auditor to get your foreign facility audited, and that's why we think that it would be. We think that there would be more audits. If more audits are conducted by such accredited auditors, that would be good for FSVP. But again, even when you are using an FDA accredited auditor under the system that Jeff described, if you're using it just for FSVP, then that audit itself would not have to comply with the specific requirements for the audits that are conducted under that regulation. That as Jeff mentioned, that only applies to audits that are conducted or certifications that are to be obtained for participation in VQIP, as well as the imports when we might in the future require an import certification because of a particular risk situation that we don't feel is adequately covered through import alerts or other means that we have. So when you're conducting, in the future, when you're conducting an on-site audit for FSVP purposes alone, that audit would not have to comply with those requirements under the regulation that Jeff talked about.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? If not, although we have still some time, but we would like to move on to the next session. Thank you very much, Mr. Reed.